Hello, hello, nonprofit family. We have a special treat for you today, guys. As you are coming in the room, please say hello so we know who you are. Tell us where you're from, how the weather is going, how your Saturday is going. We are so happy to be with you today, guys. As you can see, we're kind of from a different place because it's our anniversary week. So we're celebrating, but we're actually going to be talking a little bit about working together as a couple with one of our other power favorite couples right here, Rose and Vaughn. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
We're
Blessed.
good.
If you missed them, guys, they are about to share a little bit about who they are and what they do. As you guys are coming in the room, like I said, tell us where you're from, and we will jump right in momentarily. Oh, little ones. Got some little ones in the background. That's okay. That's all right, guys. Behind the scenes. All right. Awesome. Hello, hello. We got the room filling up, wanting to know these tips about working. If you have been thinking about working with family or working with your spouse, building something together, I'm very, very passionate about building with your spouse because you're building things together no matter what. You typically are spending time together doing something. So why not spend some time together building your dreams, building your passions? Let's go ahead and jump right in, guys. Go ahead and say hello and where you're from. But we'll go ahead and jump in with Rose and Vaughn. Tell us about your nonprofit and who you are before we start today. For those of you who don't know about Together on Purpose.
Hi, I'm Rose Young.
And I'm Vaughn Young, and we are together
Yep.
on purpose.
And basically our organization, it's all about transition. And transition starts from the day you land on this planet. And
Mm-hmm.
the focus is that we focus on those that experience barriers through their transition, whether it's transitioning from childhood to adulthood. Maybe it's transitioning from things that you've experienced, maybe being arrested or incarcerated for whatever reason. We make some bad choices, and so you find yourself struggling through those bad choices and bad decisions. So Together on Purpose was formed based on our struggle as husband and wife from young and adult experience. And we want to be that support and provide tools to those that are transitioning. And it could be in many ways. One of the things that we focus on is the men that are transitioning from jail, re-entry. And Vaughn can share a little bit about that. And my focus is with the women. I've experienced a lot of things, a lot of stuff happened to us as, we're living life. And I know personally through my experience, my struggles and the challenges I've experienced in my life, I've had to undergo a lot of barriers. And some of them were mental, some were spiritual. And those come from many different things, such as abuse, sexual abuse. So I talk about that, and it's all about transitioning in the mind.
Yeah.
Changing your old beliefs and taking on a new belief that helps you to empower you. So I focus on that with women as a substance abuse counselor and a life coach. So Vaughn, you can share a little about what Dreams does as
And
part of
together,
Together on Purpose.
together on purpose. I started the Dream Initiative based on my personal experiences with transitioning from incarceration back into the community. I realized that the only reason, and I won't say the only reason because there's a God, but I will say one of the things that I had that gave me an upper hand was that I had a solid foundation, meaning I had a family that was prepared or helping me prepare for that transition so that I would backtrack. And unfortunately, not everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're thinking about people who are in recovery, a lot of those people have burnt so many bridges that are that they should be able to go to and say, "Hey, I need help in this area," but they burnt those bridges. So we wanted to actually, I guess you would say, be that foundation and help to bridge those gaps that even the relationships that were destroyed can be reestablished. So DREAM stands for dreams, rebranding, employment, aspirations for men. And the reason for it is it's in short, one of the things that's always going to be hard for anybody who comes home from incarceration, whether it's man or woman, is going to be getting into the workforce.
Right. Yeah.
We come up with we meet a lot of men that have never worked before incarceration. So they don't necessarily have a resume or able to put it on paper where their skill set is. So we help them with those aspects, as well as to make sure that they have the appropriate apparel for that job interview. We'll take them through 3 or 4 mock interviews, to critique them. I mean, it's not just me and her that are doing it. We actually have business people in the community that will the mock interview and give them a list of, you have to be willing to say, hey, this is your strong suit, but right here, boy, you need a lot of work in this area. So because when they become aware of it, that's when they'll say, all right, let me focus hard on this, because I got this part, you know what I mean? So, and then of course we're working to put together some counseling.
Oh, it's okay.
We're
Go ahead.
on putting together some health, the mental health portion of it, combining that, because that transition again is not just a barrier that's on paper. It's a barrier where I know personally I was depressed for a long.
Uh-oh, you just went mute for some reason.
Yeah, we had a call come in.
Oh, okay, there we go. Now we can hear you.
Sorry. But yeah, it's a challenge. So when we sat down to start, like, we had already been doing the work before we built the nonprofit. But once we realized this nonprofit is more about our lives, about the outward work that we do in the community, and we realized that through it all, it had to be God that put us together on purpose.
Yes.
There you go.
And everything that we do still is a marriage, even though it's a business. It's a part. Like, even the business is a marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody said, Antoine said, hey, Antoine, how you doing today? He said, veterans have a hard time transitioning back to society as well. Yeah. What I find is a lot of our nonprofits work with transition. They just work with that transition piece. Transition is the hardest part. And like you said, everyone does not have that foundation and that support for their transition. But I found that is such a key, to have at least one person in your corner. So for you all to be able to create that space and create that space for them to heal properly is amazing. How much time are you guys working together? Before I get into that question, I'll say good morning to Marika. She's part of our team. We're building an amazing team over here. And good morning, Mobile, Alabama, serving Nigeria. Good morning. Oh, today is your 8th anniversary as a couple as well. Wow, that's awesome. This is just the time of love, huh? I didn't know October was so loving here. But yeah, absolutely. Veterans definitely have a tough time transitioning. So what I was asking was, as far as your time together, how much time do you guys spend together building currently right now? Or, tell me kind of what your day looks like. Are you, do you do a lot of work together? Or do you have some time apart as well? Tell us a little bit about that for those who are interested in working with their spouse.
Well, I still work a full-time job where we both do, but Vaughn is kind of working from home. With us still, as far as the nonprofit and the for-profit that we have, we do spend a lot of time together. And, speaking of that, that is one of the challenge, being able to cut it off.
Yeah.
Able to cut off, from business, and it's time for us. And then on top of that, we're also raising our grandchildren. So we have a girl and a 5-year-old. So that even...
We know about those 5-year-olds.
We're trying to make time for one another. We just transitioned the kids into their own room because, they were struggling, and, we had them in our bedroom. We had their beds in the bedroom because other than that, the 5-year-old would still find her way in the middle of the night. So and then finally Vaughn said, just take her mattress and put it in the room. And so we had her in here and we had the baby crib in here. So that was for about a little over a year. And now they're in their own room and we put the cameras in there and they're doing just fine. But your question, yes, we do spend a lot of time. So you have to schedule, some time together. And really, we can't really stick to a schedule, but we try to make it consistent with doing things like traveling and just getting away without the whenever we can. So as often as we can. So
absolutely. And that leads to our first question, like you said, with challenges. I'm sorry, Vaughn, you were about to say something.
What I was gonna say is, we have to. I believe in work-life balance, and with working with your significant other, sometimes those things overlap, and we don't realize. Like we feed into each other, and you have to take. Like me, I'm adamant about taking me 2 hours out the day for myself. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Although I'm working from home, at around 6 p.m., I'm going to the basketball court, whether I'm going to play or not, because the basketball court is much like the barbershop for a guy, right? We get to talk stuff and tell lies. Yeah. We get to just release for a few moments. And it really works well for me when that day that started at 6 a.m. was a rough day. So now go home, I can let all of this out on this basketball court or at the park. But either way, I can let it out and then come back home and I've reset, and not get frustrated and not get to that place where I'm snapping, because even after we go to bed, we're still up. We're researching. We're trying, we're like the kids are in bed, but we're up on our tablets or our mobile devices and we're researching. And I found something that may be interesting and I'll text it or email it to her while she's laying right next to me, because this is something we need to be on top of. Even at that time, it's
right. So the pillow talks now.
Pillow talks.
Right. They become business talks. So
absolutely, because it can be. One thing that I strive on is, sometimes it's like so I believe in work-life balance as well. But one thing that was a huge aha for me was that sometimes you can mingle in some of those things you're passionate about in your work with family as well. So you can connect over, like we connect with our kids over their passions and dreams and how we can help their business as well. That's kind of work, but we're also connecting over something that's positive. I mean, you take your kids to the movies, or not now, but you connect over all these other things, food and this and that. Why not connect over business as well? So I think that's wonderful. And it just tells you that you're passionate about it when you're laying in bed, still kind of passing those things. But like you said, having that hard cutoff, that is huge for us, especially for me.
I used to have to pull her away from the computer, and it's like, stop working for a little bit.
Yeah.
I know she loves it and she's passionate about it. And that's what I appreciate the most, about what she's brought me into, but it's got to be cut off.
It is. It does. But now, go ahead, Vaughn. I'm sorry.
Done. Text message me, call me, tell me how you got her to cut it off.
So this is what we do. Let me tell you. We do a little role play. We do a little role play, and we just say, when work is done, we'll be like, "Oh, how was your day, honey?" Because we work together the whole time. Most of the time, we got caught in traffic. Yeah, he'll ask, "You got caught in traffic? Are you about done here?" And then once we cut off, we'll just talk about work like it was two total different people, and now we're home, and now that vibe has completely switched. Some people might think in the marketing area or for the time that I'm on video that I have a real dominant personality, and I have a real that's such a small portion of who I am, so that's for that time in business. But naturally at home and things like that, I would say I'm completely opposite. Completely opposite. So we get to switch that off. Go ahead, Vaughn. I'm sorry.
Become to be able to do that. Like I want her to be able to do that part because me,
Oh, Rose.
I can say I'm done, and I'm done. She'll say, "Okay, let's put it down," and like we're in the kitchen, and in the background there's a business video playing, and she's picking up, just cut it off. Like I really want to. Okay, so let me go in my room. Let me go in because I don't want to hear this.
Sometimes you have to set. Now that's true. That now me and you, Vaughn, we really vibe in that area because one thing that is the case, even though I really love what I do and I'm on, I have a hard cutoff. Once I'm off, like we're off for the week, this is fun and we get to do this and we wanted to continue to be able to connect with the people that follow. And that's why we talked about something about couples and things like that. But after this, it's a hard cutoff to the point where my phones, business phones, we have separate phones. That really helped to have that business line and that personal line. Those all go into a box or a special area. I have an emergency line only, and it's complete cutoff. Like, so that's the thing so I agree with you. And I sometimes have that same challenge when sometimes he may want to work when I don't necessarily want to work. He might, like in the morning, even when I cut on, it takes a while for me to get in cut on mode at 9 o'clock or something. So if he goes in and he starts reading messages and asks a question or something like that, I'm like you said, I'm off here. So it's good to sometimes just separate, like, hey, if you want to work now, that's fine. I'm off mode right now. But most importantly, having that communication and being able to say that. Some people can't talk clearly with their spouse or the person that they're with. Like, I'm not working right now. So if you want to work, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go into another room, or I'm going to go ahead and, but that's so important. I think that that's a big challenge that we all share. Actually, just even getting here, we were rushing to cut the work off so we can get to our vacation time and things like that. And funny story, this is story time. So funny story. What happened? You went out for a minute there.
Yeah.
You back? Okay. Oh, okay. You gotta do not disturb. That was on my phone as well. But funny story is that that we were getting ready to come here, and I was going through trying to finish because I like to have this point of completion, like with emails and stuff, but it really doesn't exist for business because if you're doing it right, people are constantly asking. By the time you clear your inbox, it'll be clear for 2 minutes before more starts coming in. So it's a cyclical thing. You have to pause and then just come back to it. But sometimes I'm going for complete and I'm like, okay, I'm finishing up got this last message. And he like, no, we have to start packing and going. You don't have no last message. And I was like, you know what? All right. I said, the second year is different. All right, then. I'll say, let me cut it off and I'll finish that up when I finish it up. So we definitely share that same challenge. What would you say is our challenge, a challenging story for us? Definitely, I would say as well.
The beginning, I had no idea what I was getting into.
Oh, yeah, because you joined in on something.
Yeah,
new.
For me to come into a completely new world, that was a challenge enough for me. But for her to have to train me and get me up to speed, I don't know a bigger challenge than that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And training is hard sometimes. No matter who, what type of training you're dealing with, the thing is that as couples, as partners, we all have different giftings. So what that means is the things that you are most gifted at, you should be training and teaching and showing your spouse those things as well. And sometimes being in those roles, whether it's trainee or whether it's the person training, is hard when it comes to being together as a couple. But when you can break those barriers and when you have a positive, loving foundation, it becomes easy because it's like, you know what? The foundation is, I know they love me, they care about me, and I know they're much better. Normally it's clear what the giftings are. Like, I know this is their lane, And
it's a am I my brother's keeper type situation.
Yeah.
Because my strengths are definitely her weaknesses and vice versa.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I know from prior conversations, there's a chef in your household, right? The chef, the meal. So rightfully so, what do you call his assistant? The prep cook?
Yeah.
The person that does all of the things. So I'm gonna do the small things in those areas where she's the chef.
I got you.
You understand what I mean? Even if something that I'm learning, okay, I can still say, hey, what do you want me to do with this? How do you want me to do that? So now she keeps the groove. It's going, and vice versa. When it's my turn, I may be on my earbuds and she's running around the house picking up this or grabbing that or and tapping me on the shoulder. Here, not even saying a word. Here, this is what you're looking for, because she's heard enough of the conversation to see where it's going.
Yep.
And it's right there on the spot. So am I my brother's keeper? They'll never know her weakness. Because
Absolutely.
and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Person.
I love that. I love it. And how can you assist? That's one thing.
I don't be a techie person because there's no need for me to be one, because I have her. If I master what she's mastered, that means something we didn't master.
Okay.
That's good. That's for me when it comes to driving. I'm not a fan of driving. We
were in Memphis. She did not want to drive. I've never seen somebody just stop in construction traffic and say, you are going to drive.
We had discussed this story.
Hold up.
We got to share our funny story about driving. Remind us.
We go to Hollywood, go to California for our anniversary. You notice I took my glasses off? I haven't totally bought into wearing glasses yet. That's one thing. California roads are so much different. I get nauseous from those turns. That height, in the height, right? I get nauseous. So the whole time we're out there, if we're out there for 3 or 4 days, I might have driven 30 minutes. We pull over to look. We're in the hills. We're in Beverly Hills, so you can look down, and it's 1,200, and it's telling you you're 12 above that you see down there. Sitting we pull over on the shoulder, on the right shoulder. Well, the right shoulder happens to be where I'm sitting. In my mind, I'm about to go over this cliff because I'm on a move, right? I can hear the tires screeching. I'm like, Jesus. She's talking about, you all right? No.
I say, Vaughn, take pictures.
Make sure my body weight is on the left-hand side of the car.
Yep, that's it. And like I really, when it comes to driving, that's a great example, guys. It's a great example to use. Sometimes just anything you're good at. Because one thing he likes to say, sometimes, you talk about passenger driving. So you'll see someone, or you see here, or you see them, you might be going a little fast, you see them sitting right there or something. And he loves to say, like, do you want to drive? And I get to politely say, no, I do not. Let you go ahead. And then when he does ask that, like, okay, do you want to drive there? I'm like, you know what? That doesn't make no sense. We should put our MVP in the right seat. It don't make sense for us to go out here and go into this world with the person that has the least skills. And that's so much that transitions so well into any type of gifts. It makes no sense. It doesn't matter what the role is supposed to be or how they're doing their relationship over there or them over there. Have your MVP always in that lead seat, So that's a really, really big challenge for a lot of couples, switching those roles. Sometimes, go ahead, Vaughn.
Into that portion of this segment. All right. So Rose and I just started a for-profit business. All right. And with this for-profit business, we're going to have to go out and actually, like, it's not like we're selling a shirt where people, if they want it, they're going to come get it. No, we have to conjure up business. So it has to be a salesperson, right? And I'm a natural salesman, but the business in itself, it's a hard sell for a man to sell. Right? So let me break it down. We've started a virtual call center, 24-hour answering service. So all businesses like the one that we all have, whether it's for profit or non-profit, I'm quite sure 90% of the people that are watching this, they have their small business. Well, it becomes a little easier and it's more affordable to have that call center answering your calls, right? So all business owners, you have your cell phone that's primarily going to be your business phone.
Mm-hmm.
But for a small fee, I mean, when I say a really small fee, you can have those calls forwarded over to a call center that will then be able to screen out.
Answer your calls. You never miss a call.
Right.
Mhm.
All of those
You
things.
get more information about this afterwards. Yeah, definitely.
But the gist of it is, when you think of it, most of the times you think of that as being a women-ran business. So it's going to be hard for a man. Well, it's not going to be hard. It's going to be easier for a woman to sell that service than it would be a man.
Okay.
So now I have to learn enough about the business to be able to train the trainers on how to say, because being a salesman is something that's innate. It's natural. You can't really teach that. You can only. So now I have to be able to be willing to teach the teachers or teach the trainer, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's how you build a team. That's how you build a team right there, when you can master certain. That's what we're working on right now, is separating everything we do into little bite-sized pieces that someone can master so that they can have their team up under that. You know, sometimes just knowing everything, a lot of times as solopreneurs and people who are not pro partnership, you're trying to learn everything and be everything, and that's completely impossible. We have some comments and questions that I want to chime in on. We have 2 more questions that we'll be talking about, guys. We're going to be sharing a funny story, and then we're also going to be talking about some wins as couples. But let's chime into these comments. Good morning. What was that? Good morning, Tia. How are you? Good morning, family. Antoine said, my girlfriend helps me with personal business and nonprofit budgets. Oh, that's awesome. All right. You guys are working together as a team. That is great. Pillow talks. Yes, absolutely. My girlfriend drives 95% of the time. Okay. You know, and that is it's so wonderful, in my opinion, to see more minority men being able to accept certain roles that maybe weren't traditional. Is that hard? I guess that's a question for both of you guys. Is it hard to accept a role that's not traditional, as far as how you were raised, or as far as culturally?
I'd say so. I mean, in the beginning, you know, I think I took on more of a household, you know, perspective to the business. You know, I kept a lot of the household going, and you know, it would get to me here and there, like, wait a minute, am I supposed to be pulling more weight over here and not over there? What am I doing folding these clothes? You know, it's just, you know, you got to take on different roles.
He's really good at folding clothes, like to another level. I've never seen anything like this in my life before. Like, and he watches me fold clothes.
It's like nails on a chalkboard. Put it down.
So, what do you think, Vaughn? Like, are there some roles that you kind of do that are not traditional to you or were hard to accept?
He and I are like fraternal twins. We salt and pepper right at this point. I am that person. Like, I think because I grew up. Now this is crazy. My tradition. I think like a woman as it relates to the household. Why? Because I was raised by a woman. So all of the things that my mom had to do, innately I did it. So she's a better cook than I. But I'll go in and get everything. Like I can really throw down.
We won't starve. We won't starve.
I don't put that pressure on her because I know she's did it for her family for so many years. Now that our children are adults, I'll take on those responsibilities. Now that I'm working from home, I'm not gonna let her come home from her long day of work, because every break that she gets, we're on the phone working out something for our business. You know what I mean? And in those times when I know that she's at her desk, I'm emailing her things about our business. So I can understand her doing what pays the bills and also trying to build the foundation that's going to pay the bills. So when she gets home, I don't want her to have to worry about the clothes being washed or the bathroom being, dirty or things of that sort, or the bed wasn't made. You know what I mean? Because every night when she gets in the bed, it's going to be made up. be as we left it this morning. You know what I mean? Because I have the time. So I think that the traditional things, roles that a man plays, I kind of have both of them because I'm a natural protector. I'm a natural provider. When I was in my position where I couldn't find work, that was my man, that was like a killer to me because I want to provide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now on her job, she makes more money than I make.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get paid, like as soon as my money hit the account, I want her to pay bills out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because even though her money supersedes mine, in my mind, I'm paying my bills. I'm paying the bills that make her comfortable. So now in my mind, she took us on vacation because I paid the bill. Yeah. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You feel good. So other than like the traditional roles, I don't want to change the baby's diaper or nothing like that, but but I will.
Yeah.
You know, but like I say, the traditional roles, the only thing I can't do to help my wife is to breastfeed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that I think I can be of help in some way, form, or fashion. If I walk in and she's in the middle of doing something, I don't sit on my behind. Like I'm like, how can I help her? Because the quicker I help her, the more time we'll have to do something that's related to you and I. You know what I mean?
That is so important.
Yeah, that's what's important because like we thought we were going to be empty nesters, right? And we thought we were going to be building our business and our brand. We thought that this would be that time.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, yet fortunately, we're now raising our grandkids. Mm-hmm. And it came to a point where we said, you know what? We put our lives on hold for the last 20-something odd years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we can no longer afford to do that. So now these kids are going to be in business meetings.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to sit under the table while we're at the table and read a book or something of that.
Blessing in disguise, yeah.
That's what's going to. You know what I mean? So, again, back to the question: the tradition doesn't for me as a man. It doesn't. I think we're living in a non-traditional world anyway.
Yeah.
We are. And it's funny that you said that. I never, I got an aha from that about some men being raised by a single mom and things like that, because he was raised by his mother as well, a majority of the time. And just how that changes things, because you're seeing things and you're learning things, as they're raising you. So you're getting all of those. We had a team meeting not too long ago where we were just talking about developing our team. And one of the questions asked was, what has someone done in your team that has really made you feel great and things like that. And I talked about him and his support, phenomenal, gifted ability to support. And I would have to say a lot of that probably comes from how he was raised and his mom. And his mom has that same supportive personality and things like that. So that's a big aha and something to think about when it comes to roles, how they change depending upon what's going on, and being flexible, even with kiddos. We've had our little one come in on a call during something. Sometimes being flexible, those are your teaching moments. Don't the people you connect with have kids too? Somebody said, one of my friends said, I love people who love my kids as well. So it's not about us just, no, you got some kids too. Okay, good. Let's do something with them. This is part of my extended family, and you're teaching them about business as well. Antoine said, I'm able to work on the phone while she's driving. Awesome. That's I love that. That driving work is the bomb.
Almost like when you was a kid and you wanted to just go for a ride.
Just be working away.
Just go to work.
Yeah. I love that driving work. And he said, my daughter helped me at church meetings.
That's really cool. I remember a couple years ago when the cell phone providers started giving you or selling the Wi-Fi that can go in the car.
Yeah.
Boy, that was so on point. Because now, like even that, like both of us are in school. She's working. She's finishing up her master's. I'm finishing up my bachelor's. Wow. It's 3 hours away, right? So in that 3 hour time, because now cars are equipped with the Wi-Fi, it's not just a quiet. Not wasted, because no trip for your education.
Definitely
is actually wasteful, but that time is being used like a dual purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if it's my designated driver driving, she still can dictate some things. She can take notes. She can, things of that sort, or vice versa. It makes sense.
Absolutely.
That's great teamwork.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. Well, let's get into the other last two questions here. I know you guys got to get to those kids soon. So the second question is, tell us a funny story. Tell us something funny that's happened because of, do you have any as a couple working together, and just any funny story? And if not, you guys can share a win. How about a funny story or a win?
No, the funny story.
You had one.
All right, so here's the funny story.
He has a funny story.
Okay.
We were consumed with setting up our back office for the new business. When I tell you it's a new business, I mean we're not even 24 hours out from our launch.
Oh, wow.
And make sure you give us that information so we can add it here. We have several businesses, several nonprofits that need that type of work, and it's all about working smarter, not harder. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's good.
And it's so I get it. So she took her break. She came home to do the Zoom conference. My daughter is so the business is primarily Rose's and my daughter's. They founded this company together. All right. So they're doing it remotely from two different locations. My grandson gets out of daycare early yesterday because they had a teacher's work day. So in the midst of that, it becomes hectic. Then on the Zoom conference, the IT person on the other end had something that wasn't configured right. So he had to stop the conference in order to get that. It took him 2 hours. He comes back home. She comes back home and she gets back, like she waits. She gets back and I can see where she's getting frustrated. And I can, she's short with her answers, somewhat snappy. So I walk past her. And I tell her, I say, baby, you might need to have a drink or something. She said, I don't need to have no drink. I say, yeah, you do. You need to calm down, because no matter you getting frustrated at this point, it's not going to help you. 1, 2, it's definitely not going to help me. Because somehow that thing, that pressure that comes out of the atmosphere, it goes directly to your spouse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have to. So the funny story is, although she didn't have a drink, she heard what I said. And her, like, she came back here and she took and I wanted to give her that. Give her 5 minutes to breathe. All right. And when she came back, she was back, because all of those things were things that were not in our control.
Right.
Yeah.
Reminder, for me to, okay, Rose, you kind of taking it overboard. Okay, let's, slow down, take a break.
She needed to make a payment. She needed to make a payment with a card that she had just 2 hours ago activated. Right?
I couldn't find the card.
So now it's time to payment and she can't find the card. All right. You've only been 1 or 2 places. Out here, you check this big old bag that, you check that bag. You know the bag, Miss Tracy. You check that bag that if I go in it, I can never find anything.
She does it with her eyes closed.
You know what I mean? So funny story. That's another funny story. I don't understand how you guys can stay organized in a bag that big.
That is hilarious, Rose. I have to ask you on that note, how much of a challenge is it for you to, and this is something that a coach asked me a while back, and it's challenging for a lot of women, especially Black women, for you to take that leadership in those times where your partner's trying to give you some leadership and kind of, oh no, I don't like the word correcting, but kind of guiding, like, hey, this is not the right direction here. How hard is it for you to snap at those moments and really take in what they're saying? Like, okay, maybe this is something that, let me really hear them out here. Cause I know that hasn't always been easy for me, but it's easy with the right person.
you know, we've been married now 21 years. I mean, it took years, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of perfecting it a little bit more because I'm quick to respond, or I know to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, you know, maybe a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about the situation. But I think I'm getting better with it. What you say?
I think so. I mean, but it's cognitive. We work together with the mindfulness that I don't want to say anything that I can't take back.
Mm-hmm.
Even, I don't want to be snappy, and vice versa. I know when I've got to that place with her where and it's all my fault. I need to sit down and shut the up. I mean, I'm gonna be transparent, Miss Tracy, and I'm gonna tell you that's how I talk. I mean, I know my self-talk is like, now you went too far. Like, don't press your luck, because at the end of the day, I ain't gonna say she's the boss, but I respect her so much.
Exactly.
Her to have the same respect in those areas for me that I'm starting to be cognitive of. Like, again, I was raised by a single mom. Yeah. My mom did whatever the hell she wanted to do all of her life. So when I came into a relationship that was a committed relationship, I still thought I could do what the hell I wanted to do. I know this is a business conversation. This is about our business.
It's true.
Again, our marriage is a business.
It's all connected. Yes, yes.
So keeping that in mind, I had to learn to step back and step outside of who I was to see what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Yeah, right. No, you could have went about that. Even if she was 100% wrong, you still could have went about it a better way, because all you did was add fuel to a burning fire. You know what I mean? And then later on in that time, laying in the bed, pillow talk, like, you know what? I really appreciate that.
And that's very appreciated to hear it from another couple, in business together. There's so many nails that were hitting on the head,
Absolutely.
And I grew up as only child, so, in the way I come off selfish sometimes, but in the business, you can't do that. You have to find that common ground and just get over whatever you're going through and move forward, move it along.
Because that would be probably one of our challenges, is if we hit a moment or hit a trigger during a work day, because we still got to work together, So if we hit and somebody's a little off energy wise, I work in energy. So because I love what I do, I have to have passion. It has to be, it has to be a good vibe. So if the vibe is down, I'm like, okay. So then now I'll have to leave. But then if I leave the room, that adds to the vibe, because now it's it wasn't nothing wrong, or it wasn't and so we've had to work through that of freezing work. Basically, when the energy is not right, work kind of freezes. It's like, until we get it right, work kind of freezes. So one of the things that I think is a benefit, and one of the things I really love about our relationship, is we never go very long out of alignment. We can come back to each other. We can talk about something that happened just a couple of hours ago, and how we perceived ourselves, how we perceived each other, what we could have adjusted, what we could have done better, and take that information and use it to make the next day better.
Yep. That's great.
That's key right there.
That's huge. It really is. I've been in enough relationships to appreciate it, which sometimes you have to do that as well. You have to go through enough to see it and be like, you know what, this is good. To be able to self-correct in the same day. Like you said, sometimes take a couple of days, and but to be able to correct that right there. Let's go ahead and wrap up, guys, because I know we're at the 45-minute mark. I'll make sure we don't have any other questions or anything.
I have to say.
Go ahead.
Yep.
And I think this is so appropriate. We watched as people in the predominantly Black communities, minority communities, we watched Baby Fat grow into a multi-billion-million-dollar company, right? We also watched Russell Simmons and Komora Lee get a divorce, right? But the business still maintained. Why? Because business and personal life didn't bleed into each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't work, and I'm not promoting that. I'm just showing you, when you're business minded and you're focusing on the business, your business is still flourishing, but your personal relationship is not. I'm not saying that we want that or we're promoting that, but understand as it relates to business, we can't allow our emotions. We can't allow our attitudes, our tempers, our well, just let me do it. We can't allow that to take precedence over where our businesses are going.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'll cut it off at that. And I think that that's the perfect way to understand. Like from 9 to 5, I'm from the streets, and one of my homeboys once told me, he said, "Business is business, and friends are friends." So the things that we do, if it costs us $16,000 for whatever it may be, I need $16,000. I don't expect 15,000 and I'm your friend. That's not business. So business is business. So from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., if those are the hours of operation, at 5:01, now we can go back into our friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important. We talked about at the beginning, and a lot of people maybe weren't on at that time. We talked about that cutoff time, and it's so important, just cutting off that time. And really, there was a point in time where he was really good at cutoff, and I wasn't. And you can build up a bitterness because you start to see them in their enjoying time and thinking like, oh, why aren't they just getting back in here? And no, I switched that, being able to self-correct. And I said, you know what? When he's resting like the babies, when he's chilling, I'm chilling too. When I need to make sure that you don't get bitter when someone is pushing in their time to be able to do whatever it is that rejuvenates them. You learn from it. And you're like, you know what? I learned from that. Let me do what rejuvenates me during this time as well. So we're both rejuvenating, and we come back and we tackle this from a rejuvenated, filled cup place. So I think cutting it off, those were some key points in all of this. Let me make sure we didn't have any other questions in here. Good morning, Nene. How are you? Yes, so Mama's boys in the house. Me too, guys.
Me too.
That's right.
Oh, me too. Oh, okay. I said that wrong. And that's the funny story that we forgot to share. We'll end on that note. Now, this is funny, guys. When it comes to business, we'll wrap right here. When it comes to business, you never know what's going to happen. So it's so awesome to be working with someone that we can talk about anything, that we're not easy to jealousy, easy to hurt, and things like that. So we get a lot of messages every day, and typically we're tackling them together. Like you said, one's dictating, one's responding, we're always tackling them. Now we have a team of people to tackle the messages as well. But he always gets to read the messages that are.
A lot of people, have found us on certain platforms or whatever. And usually Tracy is the face of the company, which I'm all for.
Marketing. I'm marketing your legal.
So Tracy gets a lot of messages that are pretty surprising, not business-wise.
Not business at all. And he's the one that always ends up reading it out loud. Hello, beautiful. How about you be my just all this, and he's dictating it. So it's funny, we get to laugh about it. I just remember in the past just dealing with enough people where somehow you did something, portrayed something that made, where that could have been a moment where it's an issue, Right. And so that's something we just definitely appreciate. Absolutely.
I can imagine how that could have turned out, and I thank you for being a strong enough man to understand. Let me tell you something. When a person sees gold, and I'm talking about from a financial standpoint, something of beauty.
Beauty, yeah.
Brother, they might have seen you. They don't care.
They don't care that you're reading the message.
I'm sure.
You understand me? And that has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with who that person is.
Yeah.
Like, not respectful, and even if it now, because you came that way, it could be a multi-million-dollar deal. I don't want any parts of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You tell me who you are.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much, guys, for coming on. This has been so much fun. What a way to enjoy our anniversary, guys. If you missed it, we all share kind of an anniversary. Our exact date is on the 15th. When is yours?
The 13th.
Okay. The 13th. That's crazy. And you guys are out traveling, doing some things. We are on a staycation. We have a little spot about 10 minutes away from the house, but the curtains all black out, and you can just be wherever you want to be. You can decide that you're in New York, you are wherever you want to go, you know. So I know you guys are doing some traveling and having some fun because this is the time, taking those times to celebrate, guys. When it comes to couples, that's the point we'll end on, is making sure you take those times to celebrate. Where can someone find your information? You guys are on Facebook. What's your page and your website and things like that if they want to connect? And do you have a website yet for the business you talked about?
Yes, we do. The business is Top Virtual Solutions and Services, and that's www.topv as in Victor, S as in Sam, S as in Sam.com, and that's for the 24/7 live telephone answering service. And on our nonprofit, it is Together on Purpose Inc. We are on Facebook. What else we're on? All the social media. So
all social media
platform.
Awesome. And I'll add all of their links in the description, guys. Make sure you send them over to me as well so we don't get any typos in there afterwards, okay?
And Miss Tracy, my book will be in publication, and hopefully January. I want to release it on January 23rd.
All right. Awesome. This is awesome.
So I will be expecting, or in fact, I won't even be expecting. I'll be calling you saying, Miss Tracy, I need to be on your show again.
No problem. No problem. We definitely want to hear about that. You already have some amazing stories. I'm sure people want to hear more. Everyone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And we appreciate you guys for watching. We will go ahead and get back to our vacation and let Rose and Vaughn get to theirs as well, guys. If you're not on our newsletter, guys, go on over to our website and sign up for our newsletter. We have something special coming up this Wednesday. If you still don't have a business plan when it comes to that portion, we'll be having John Austin back on here again. He'll be coming on 5 p.m. this Wednesday. All right, guys, so I will see you in the next live. Remember, until then, to continue to create those win-wins, continue to be a solution to the problem. Be a part of the solution. Don't be a part of the problem. And if you do that, I guarantee that you'll find your business, you'll find your success, you'll find your love, and you'll find abundance along the way, guys. All right, I'll see you in the next video.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.